And we're live.
Have you guys talked on this podcast before about Mark Zuckerberg considering running for president?
No,
not.
I haven't
What's your
taken
take
it
on
that
it?
seriously.
I want The Rock to run.
The Rock, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's a scary idea, I think, that he thinks he could be president, that he thinks he knows enough. I mean, I remember I saw an interview with Bill Gates from like the 90s where he was talking about how it costs about $300 million to run for president, so he could do it and he might be able to win, but he would never do it. Because I just think he was humble in a certain way where he's like, I haven't spent my life learning about politics.
He'd run this country like a business. He knows all he needs to know.
Yeah. Well, we're kind of going through that case study right now, I guess. So maybe we'll know in a couple of years.
We'll see. Maybe Zuckerberg. What is the argument for him? Because the only way I've heard him running, I've only heard the references like as a joke, like, oh, that would suck to have the Facebook guy have even more power. Like, imagine what he would do.
Sweaty guy who's bad at public speaking. Like, you think that Trump is bad in a high pressure moment on camera? Get that sweaty motherfucker up there.
Is Zuckerberg a good or bad speaker? I don't think I've
terrible.
There's
Terrible.
an infamous interview from like a while ago with this big tech journalist who like got Steve Jobs and Bill Gates to do interviews together and shit like that, and he's just like can't talk. Like he's gotten better, obviously, but yeah.
But he's still not good.
But he was also a kid. Like
yeah.
Would anybody look at like Zuckerberg, like as far as foreign?
But why is that? Why is that an argument? Like, Kyle, like, he's a bad public speaker. Like, I don't like the guy running for president, but being good at public speaking is not criteria.
Oh, no, it is. It is.
To me, it's one of the most important things because he has to, it's one thing to have great ideas, but it's another thing to be able to express them and explain them to the American people and to the world in a way that they'll understand and buy into. Because, like, you can have the greatest idea. There's a reason we don't just put some, like, genius in there. Like there's a reason Stephen Hawking isn't our president. You need to get up there and be charismatic and be able to sell the world on something. Look at JFK. JFK got up there and inspired with his speaking. You know, he inspired a nation to reach higher, literally. And
literally
go to the moon in this decade and do the things which are hard.
Like higher shelves.
The moon.
Oh, okay. I was like, literally reach higher. What is he getting at?
Literally reach higher. The moon.
Too few homes in this great nation have access to step ladders. There are a lot of things on that top shelf worth grabbing.
I think Trump sort of evidence that people want less and less of that. They want less of the polish. They kind of see that as fake. And I would argue, honestly, I think the most compelling public speaker who just oozes authenticity and like trust to me is Elon Musk. I think he's very awkward. I think he's like, but there's an element of trust where you feel like you're getting like everything. You're getting the unfettered, unfiltered Elon Musk, the same way he would act towards his kid, his wife, his COO, like anyone. And I think there's something endearing about that, like where. Like that's kind of what I meant.
think you're predisposed to like him, and you're overlooking his shortnesses.
He wasn't born in the United States either, right? I don't. So he can't. He's not eligible. He's a Schwarzenegger type candidate.
But he's also not charismatic at all. I mean, I'm saying I don't think charisma should like.
I think the same guy with that maybe you didn't know or didn't like, you know, if you were introduced to him, you would be like, this guy's terrible. Like, why am I even watching him speak? You know, Elon Musk needs to sell himself to people who aren't as interested in new tech as you are.
Yeah.
I like charisma in my candidate. That guy needs to be slick as fucking ice, like Donald Trump.
He's so slick. Always one step ahead.
He's playing 4D chess.
Oh my god, that guy.
Yeah, I would
entertaining.
I would expect the best candidate to be passionate to an extent. But I definitely think there's like a rehearsed feeling to people like JFK, and that is off-putting to me and to probably a lot of other people.
I mean, I think from the tech world,
Reagan was fucking smooth and slick, and he could come off.
Steve Jobs was the speaker. Like that guy was he had this reality. He coined the reality distortion field. You know, he could go up there and sell an iPod
because he was cheating.
How was he cheating?
the iPods weren't working when he went up there. The iPhones weren't working when he went up there. He had to like force them to do stuff, and then
there was a sequence of events he needed to follow. Like I'm aware, but I mean, we're talking about presentation ability here, and he set the standard. Like I still don't know anyone who does it as well as Steve Jobs. If there's anyone alive now who can do what he did,
I'm sure there's some guy on a TED Talk who could do it. You know,
Ty Lopez.
Maybe I haven't seen it.
I'm fucking around. I was fucking around. Never mind.
I think it's time we get a nice conservative Texan in there. It's been a while since that's happened.
How about that Alabama senator dude?
It's been a while. It's been like
that guy is a maniac.
What's his name? Moore? Something Moore?
Bush wasn't from Texas,
Ray or Roy Moore.
Roy, yeah, I think it's Roy Moore.
I think it's Roy Moore as well.
Yeah, Bush was from fucking New England.
He's a little off his rocker. That guy.
Yeah, he's too far. But I do believe in voting for stuff, and you know, he did get the most votes, so that's our Alabama representative. You know, we may have a representative who's equally crazy on the left from Seattle or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Of course, that's
just
the
way she goes.
I think the most left candidate is Bernie Sanders. There's no one who's proposed as many left. It doesn't get any more crazy than that when it comes.
Nobody else was taking their honeymoon in the former Soviet Union. No other Democrats did that.
You guys heard about these leaks where Donald Trump makes fun of Pence in the White House?
Yeah, they want to hang all the gay people. Yeah.
I wonder if that's true. I'm not as prone to believe that is so, but I think it's just fucking.
I like to believe it's true.
Trump speaks in hyperbole constantly, which is kind of dumb.
Matt and Taylor, there are these leaks that have come out, and they come out all the time about how these conversations go behind the scenes.
Yeah, I know.
Where Pence someone will meet with Pence and then meet with Trump, and it'll be like, "What did that guy make you pray or something like that?"
Yeah. Don't ask him. He wants to kill all the gays or hang all the gays. I think he said.
He tried to get Bea Melania to hold hands with his family at dinner. It was incredibly uncomfortable.
You know, like that kind of shit. I remember. Did you ever do that as kids? When you would go to someone's house and eat dinner with them, and they'd start praying and they'd put their hands out towards you. I never cared for that. My family, when we did pray, it was always keep it to yourself. Put them like this. Keep it clean. We're all about to eat. I don't know these people. I don't know. That always bothered me.
There you go. Because I tell you what, I didn't wash my hands.
I'm going to call you out. You're both praying to man in the sky. That is here and here. Doing this doesn't make it that much weirder.
But it makes it grosser. And if you're 8, you're praying to a man in the sky anyway. Whatever. I didn't know.
Yeah. It kind of resonated with me how Trump is a city guy and doesn't relate to a lot of the people that are on his team. That was the thing that was the takeaway I got from it.
It's interesting though, because
I bet he doesn't sync with Jeff Sessions, Paul Ryan, Mitch McConnell, because when he's oh, they would never hang out with a traveling Bible salesman like Paul Ryan or a Kentucky guy like Mitch McConnell. It's you know what? He might not be crazy about that.
I don't know that Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell are necessarily those things. These are both multimillionaire politicians, or AKA professional liars. I don't think that they are synonymous with middle America or rural America any more than Nancy Pelosi is. They're all the same ilk, the same political group. I think he's
all in their same elite little club.
I didn't say they weren't elite. I said one was a Kentucky guy, and that was his background, and the other was a traveling Bible salesman.
Yeah, but
Trump really did spend a lifetime bragging about all the pussy he gets, and
that's true.
That makes him very different than Pence.
Yeah, but it's not. The way he framed it is intentionally misleading. Oh, Paul Ryan, this traveling Bible salesman, he's being hyperbolic to try and push the point through, but the point is only, what I bet he wouldn't hang out with these people for real. Am I right? Am I right, audience? Clap at me. I just dislike it because it's the exact same thing that every single late night host has the exact same opinions. They all endorse the same candidate. They all believe the same things. They all just say and parrot the same points. Again, their audience love it because they know who they're pandering to.
But that's not a counter to his point in the slightest. That's just an ad hominem attack,
but it's,
right?
No. Because his is an ad hominem attack. Oh, he's a Bible salesman in this. I bet they would never hang out in real life. That was his whole point. It was just a smug. You've been rubed, and my evidence for this is that I don't think these people would have hung out. And Bill Maher, Grand grand arbiter of knowledge. I mean, he looked down and smugly smiled and giggled at his own joke. So clearly he's smart enough to know he's correct. Like, he delivers things in a way that is so unpalatable to people who don't already believe 100% of what he says that it doesn't actually change anyone's mind. Like, you can listen
Nothing
how much
changes
more
anybody's mind. Everybody's mind is so firmly set. I haven't seen anyone listen to a comedian or a TV show or a news report. You can present people with actual facts, and they still say, I view your fact check with suspicion. All the fact check sites are biased, and but they are, right? Is that where we're headed?
And his evidence for his evidence for this whole thing is Trump working with the Democrats, as if the reason he's working with them is because they're easier to socialize with and get along with, when in fact it's all about politics and getting things through Congress. It's not like he worked with Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi because like they get his jokes and they have a good old time or anything, and they
that's an effective counter, right? That's not about laughing at his own jokes. I think you bring up a good point. But I did watch it, and maybe because I was predisposed to think that way anyway, it was like, you know what? Like, yeah, I bet Trump does have a hard time relating to a lot of other Republicans, because he spent his whole life relating to Democrats. I mean to say.
It's just funny that he says this, and the reason that Hillary lost the election is because Trump did endear himself more to blue-collar workers in Michigan, in Wisconsin, in those Rust Belt states, in Pennsylvania, Western Pennsylvania. Like, he won those people. And that's how he won the election, because she ignored that part of the country. She thought she had it in the bag. And so that's actual tangible evidence that flies in the face of this, that, these voters, don't believe the evidence that these states that just previously voted for Obama twice in a row, that those same people voted for Trump. No, they're just rubes. He wouldn't want to talk to you in a bar or a diner. And maybe that's true. It just doesn't seem to be an argument that has any. Would. Yeah, probably neither one. If I saw Chuck Schumer or Nancy Pelosi or Donald Trump at a bar, I don't think that any of them would be a lot of fun to talk to, because I think that all of them would talk about themselves 100% of the time.
Which one would you want to hang out most? We talked about
I would
Sessions,
100%,
Paul Ryan, Mitch McConnell, Trump, and Hillary.
Trump, because I feel like he might be the one closest that he'll be like trying to impress you. He doesn't drink, but maybe you can, he's just so high on his own supply that he starts spilling secrets about Area 51 or something. Like, none of the other ones are going to do that. So that's
I get great intelligence. You want to hear some of my great intelligence? I've got the best intelligence. You're like,
you know what, Donald? I heard they didn't even tell you everything about Area 51. They would say that, wouldn't they? Well, let me tell you this. Like,
you want to go? You want to go? Let's go.
Yeah, you haven't even begun to know until you're asking about Area 54. Two in between, not even gonna get started on it. Like that.
Yeah, who would you pick, Woody? Like,
I think it'd have to be Trump. I can't think of anyone else I want to spend time with. Yeah, and not that Trump and I wouldn't get along for very long. I think he'd find me to be like Pence or Ryan in Bill Maher's description of them.
Edge.
Yeah. I don't drink, but like I think I wouldn't be much fun, and I wouldn't find him to be much fun. But Mitch McConnell, Paul Ryan, Mike Pence. Oh my God! Like, yeah,
Mike Pence's wife would have to be there too.
Yeah, when they like drag me to like family events I don't want to go to, those people are better than those people. It's. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just want to like jiggle that Mitch McConnell turkey neck a little, like, so maybe I hang out with him. Just want to play with it a little, flick it. See how solid it is.
He looks way more like a turtle than Taylor does an owl.
Yeah, he's got, it's the nose too, a very turtley nose
and neck.
And here's something telling. I bet the person we'd least want to hang out with, Hillary Clinton.
Oh, I can't imagine wanting to hang out with her.
No, I think Mitch McConnell's at the bottom of my list. And Jeff Sessions, I watched him get interviewed today. That guy, I think Hillary might actually be better than upper half.
No,
dude,
I like Mitch McConnell. I think Mitch McConnell's probably got. He's so old and from Kentucky that I think he might actually be a little bit of a small town like kind of guy. Like he might be grounded enough that you could. I bet that guy fishes. You know what I mean? Like that's what I take from him. Like sometimes Woody, sometimes Woody looks at somebody and like, yeah, I bet he's a good family man and he's got a golden Labrador and. I bet that on weekends. Yeah. You'll like draw these conclusions and just looking at somebody, extrapolate things from them. That's what I extrapolate from Mitch McConnell, is that he's so old and from Kentucky that like I picture him as like a bass fisherman who's like or like someone who like who's a fly fisherman who ties his own lures or something in his spare time with those magnifying glasses, who's like a little down to earth. So like Trump, then Mitch McConnell, then Paul Ryan, then Hillary Clinton, I guess. And I agree with you. Jeff Sessions seems like a fucking monster. Jeff Sessions seems like one of those X-Files villains who like gets past Mulder and Scully by having a good story, and then he goes in his dark bathroom and like peels his face off, and he's a lizard man or something.
My list goes Trump, then Hillary, then Paul Ryan, then probably Jeff Sessions, and Mitch McConnell is the one I'm least interested in.
I know homeless people I'd rather hang out with than Hillary Clinton.
You know homeless people?
I know of them.